What we're going to be talking about tonight, we're going to be talking about pretty much the law of attraction. You are what you attract. So I'm going to tell you about how like certain things about yourself will attract certain things and certain people to you, and how to kind of change that, like change the narrative of what you're attracting, and also kind of maybe dig a little bit into why you are the way you are, or the things that you might not be realizing about yourself that are bringing those people towards you. Because it could be good things about you that are bringing negative people towards you, because I mean, vampires are real, right? They're just not bloodsuckers, they're more so energy suckers. And so with that being said, it's like very important that you are aware of, what you're attracting, and certain things to look out for, and maybe certain situations that you might not even realize happened to you in the past. It's gonna be mind-blowing, because I could definitely tell you some things about myself, and you guys gonna be like, what? So yeah, let me see what time it is. What time is it? Oh, y'all, it's 9:27. You know what, I might just go ahead and start early tonight. I really have no reason not to. I have a couple viewers. I'm happy that you guys are here to view. Hi. So let's do it then. I don't even care. So I just want to start off by saying hello to all the beautiful people that are here to listen today. Welcome to Goddess Talk podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Manifest Lux and Manifest Lux Body, which is my business, my brand, my baby. And we have so much coming for Manifest Lux, as far as our fitness side, which is Manifest Lux Body, and then Manifest Lux, which is the self-care brand, which we're gonna start putting together some workbooks and some different little gems, I guess. I ain't trying to give it all away, that you guys are able to use as tools to aid you in your self-care journey, your self-love journey, your self-improvement journey, because this is all about making you better. You're already great. We just want to be better every day, because the whole point of living is to have a goal. And every day, no matter what you do, you should set a new goal, because once you stop setting goals, you stop living. Literally, like your brain, your body starts to deteriorate. Like, you have to keep learning, you have to keep growing, you have to keep elevating. It is all very important. So anyways, kind of got off my topic there. But anyways, for those of you who don't know me, I am Jacqueline Chyi, and I believe that I change lives, y'all, through encouraging self-healing, and with the help of our creator, I am able to help people see how great and wonderful they truly are. And sometimes it takes somebody to point it out. Sometimes it takes realizing it in someone else to see it in you, I guess you could say, because I'm not perfect. I just carry myself really well. I've been through a lot of things, and there's people that's watching this podcast right now that know like some of the things I've been through, and they're looking at me through a looking glass like, oh my God, I can't believe she's still here, she's still alive, she's still thriving, because of the types of things that I've been through. But my goal for you today is to educate you and inspire you to leave this podcast one step further to achieving your personal self-improvement goals, okay? So here we are, season 1, episode 3. This season's focus is self-love in relationships, friendships, and social situations, okay? So this episode is about, like I said before, the law of attraction, essentially a few tips on how to step out of attracting unwanted things or people you may be attracting. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight. And honestly, my husband is an amazing, I have to give him credit and a shout out, because he is amazing. He has helped me like get my ish together, okay? Like, he literally is a part of this podcast. Even when he's not here next to me, he is a part of this podcast. He is part of Manifest Lux. He is a part of everything that I do, because we are trying to thrive together. And it may not be something that he's personally interested in all the time, but he always manages to assist me in some way. So tonight, a lot of the things that you're going to hear actually came from some of his ideas, some of his help, things that we've been through together. So I guess let's get started. Okay, the first portion that I want to talk about is how you are what you attract, pretty much. Electrons don't attract protons. So what I want you to do is take the time to reflect on who you are and your toxic behaviors, because we all have toxic behaviors, no matter if you admit it or you don't. My toxic behavior is I am I am like super mean, but I can't handle when somebody else is being mean to me. That's one of my toxic behaviors. So I'm working on that. I'm working on like my attitude. I'm working on like like kind of being an instigator of situations in my marriage, and like getting mad when my husband is like actually showing some agitation with me, because he normally doesn't. But at the end of the day, he's human and people get tired of stuff, and I'm okay with that. But I just like, there's certain things that we do that we discredit and we say, oh, it's nothing wrong with us. And then when the next person does it, we have a whole bunch of things to say about it. So take time to reflect on that. Like, what's your toxic behavior? What can you work on? Like, because the problem with toxic behavior is it becomes so natural. It becomes such a normal to us. Like when I was a kid, I grew up around like so many different types of relationships, but the majority of the relationships that I grew up around were toxic. So that was intriguing to me, because those relationships always seemed interesting. They never lacked in, you know, excitement or whatever, and they always seemed really close together. They always seemed like really tight knit, like nothing could break them apart, because they would fight and then they get back together and this and the third. So in a sense, subliminally, it encouraged that behavior in me, because you see that and you see you see other people, like what you think on the outside is thriving in it, and what really is happening there is a trauma bond. These people have formed a trauma bond together, and they can't leave each other. They don't know how to, because that takes healing. That takes like reflection. It takes doing something called shadow work, which is figuring out all the bad stuff that's going on with you, and working through it in order to be able to see a I guess a positive outcome on the other side. So let me see, y'all. I hope everyone is having a good night. I hope that you guys are watching and enjoying yourself, relaxing at the process, or getting things done that you need to get done, because that's very important as well. So, in the midst of attract, you are what you attract, I want to tell you guys that I used to attract some awful people. Like, oh my God. Because it wasn't because I was a bad person. It wasn't because I was a negative person. It was simply because I did not realize how much positivity and light was radiating from me, and that there were people out there who wanted some of that. And most of the time, the people that like are like super obsessed and clingy and this and the third, they are the types that are trying to suck that energy from you, because they don't have it themselves. They don't know how to get it. They don't know how to be happy themselves. So either they're going to suck it from you, or they're going to make you, eventually it's going to make you miserable. Don't get me wrong, but they're going to take it away from you one way or another. Whether it be they're going to be overly obsessed with you, or they're going to make your life a living heck. Okay? So I'm going to read this to you. So my husband wrote this. He said, my method of overcoming toxic relationships is learning to love. Okay, let me just say this. The method here is learning to love yourself. reflect on what you want to change about yourself. If you haven't heard our first podcast, I definitely advise you to listen to it, but that has nothing to do with this. I'm sorry, my note, I read the wrong parts of my notes. So, anyways, I will be going more deeper into self-love and how that all works, but right now I'm just going with the topics that I've already lined up so that we can lead into some deeper stuff. But because when I get into the deeper stuff, I want to have materials that you guys can work on in the process. So I want you to let your mind heal from what you've been through so your heart can open up to relationships that are positive. So you have to be positive in order to have positivity in your relationship. So when negative things happen, when bad things happen to you in your relationship, because life isn't always going to be great. Things are going to go wrong, but you got to have a positive outlook on it. You got to be able to say the glass is half full instead of half empty when things are going crazy, because things happen to me all the time. I mean, literally today was a mess. My son is in virtual school and I'm trying to run a business and I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do that, and I'm asking my husband to help me with this, and he's all the way in Germany and he's helping me, but sometimes I still get upset about certain things because I'm human, right? But we have to turn around and look at the positive. So anytime I get this negative emotion when something doesn't go my way, instead of responding to it, I take 10 seconds and ask myself, is this really if the first thing that comes to my head is not positive, I ask myself, is this really what I want to say? Is this really what I want to say? And then no sooner than I ask myself that, my whole attitude changed, my whole way of speaking is going to change. But anyways, with that being said, just practice positivity, pouring positivity within you, and then realizing that with that is going to come some negativity. And you have to be prepared to deal with it. You have to be prepared for the vampire guys and the vampire girls to come and try to steal that light from you, and you got to remain positive and through it all. And you have to understand that just because they're there doesn't mean that you have to accept them. Like, you have to accept being in a relationship or accept being in a friendship with them, because you have to evaluate why they're there first. You have to evaluate what you may have to offer them that they are trying to take from you, because it's not always materialistic things that people are trying to take. A lot of times it's your spirit. And with that being said, you just have to, I'm not going to say keep your guard up, but you have to keep your eyes open. And with keeping your eyes open, that requires pouring into yourself. So go for walks in the park, the mall, the store, study people, acknowledge the toxic behaviors, and ask yourself what you would do differently if you were the person that you were seeing operating in toxicity. So when you see a couple move in a negative way, evaluate that, dissect it, and flip it. When you see a couple move in a positive way, study that as well, and utilize those tools that you see that they're doing to make your relationship or whatever you have going on better. If you see someone's treating themselves well, mimic that behavior. That's going to make you better. See, we learn by studying people. A lot of people be like, I don't want to be like nobody else and da 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 da. But at the end of the day, it's not about being like them. It's about taking bits and pieces from different people in order to create who you are, who you want to be, because you are choosing you are choosing who you want to be, pretty much. Like, it's almost like we're in a movie and we're a character and we get to pick the different traits that we want to have as that character. That really becomes who you are. You don't have to be because if you don't have anybody to mimic or to learn from or whatever, then you would just be a blob, literally. Like, if we didn't have all of this facial features and body and whatnot, we would just be a blob, literally. So anybody that's telling you that, you know, that you're trying to jock them, you're trying to be like them, no, that's different. Like trying to dress exactly like somebody, talk exactly like somebody, walk exactly like somebody is totally different from studying people's behaviors to learn from them. That is okay. That is perfectly fine, because that's how we're going to grow as people. And some things are just going to come more natural to another person. Anyhow. But anyway, so this, when you're studying people, when you're evaluating people, when you're evaluating situations, this should be the time of building yourself up and finding yourself. That's when you take the time alone to self-reflect. And that's when you take the time to think about what you want for your life. That's where you take the time to write down your goals, your values, stuff like that. That's going to attract. And then you also want to write down what you want to attract. You want to write down what you want in to bring into your life, not only in a relationship or a friendship, but just into your life in general. If you want a bigger house, write it down. If you want a nicer car, write it down. If you want some new shoes, write it down. If you want to be a nicer person, write it down. If you want to be able to communicate better with people, write it down. If you want whatever it is you want, write it down. Because that is a part of manifestation. That is a part of like just your brain grasping the thought of everything that you want to do. Writing it down is kind of like etching it in stone. It's like etching it in stone, okay? So if you want to attract positivity, attract it. Listen, it's some people that just like toxic shit. And if that's the case, if you like toxic shit, then that's cool. That's your business. But you can't ask for something else when you like what you like. You get what I'm saying? You gotta want different. You gotta like different. You gotta seek that. You gotta seek that difference. Because you can't say, oh, I want a peaceful, happy relationship, but then go around and, be lusting after a negative person, or a chaotic situation, or a chaotic man, or whatever, chaotic friendship. Like, I've had friendships that I had to cut off because I loved them, still love them dearly, but their life was just too chaotic for me. And their chaos starts to seep over into your life. Believe it or not, no matter what you do, no matter how good you think you got yourself aligned and in their life seeps over into yours. Especially if you are a giving person and you want to help them, and they know that, they're gonna call you when they need you to keep their kids and they fighting what they do. They're gonna call you when they found out they do cheating and they want you to go help them do whatever. They're gonna call you through whatever, and that's gonna seep over into your life. If you got a friend that's always lying and causing trouble and this and the third, and he brings that over into your life, it's going to come to you. That negativity is going to come to you. So if you don't want that, then you can love people from a distance, and you can allow them to see that without that in your life, you are able to be the peace that it brings allows you to grow. The growth that you'll receive from removing the negative things around you is phenomenal. Like, it gets no better. I kind of got off topic. Not for real. I didn't get off topic. I just kind of got a little bit ahead of myself, because that's going to be for another day. But what I do want to say is, another way you can kind of get an idea of the type of relationship or the type of friendships that you might want to have, believe it or not, is by watching movies with couples in it, or with friendships in it, or like we watch The Flash. We love The Flash, okay? It's the freaking awesome shit ever. I love The Flash. But anyway, so watch movies that have couples that have strong strong communicational roles, and like show you how to handle certain situations. It will definitely seep over into your relationships, into the people that you either attract or that you gravitate towards, because it's not always about what you attract, it's also about what you gravitate towards. If you gravitate towards the negative stuff, then that's what's gonna stay. So after being patient and understanding what you like, what you want, you will have a better outlook on relationships and what positive relationships look like, what toxic relationships look like, and what you might need to stay away from. Because it also boils down to knowing toxic traits. Like, there are specific traits that people have, like being manipulative, lying, I mean, not even lying all the time, but just withholding information, blame shifting, we're gonna talk about those traits in another episode, but there's all types of little things that you can look out for that will definitely indicate where this relationship or where this person might be taking you. And don't ignore it, because the worst thing you can do is ignore the signs that God's giving you. Let's just say that, because I did it. I was, a young girl, and I met this guy, and I should have known that, he wasn't a good influence for me. I mean, because for one, the day I met him, he had just got out of prison. But see, my kind heart looked over that, and it didn't matter to me that he had just got out of prison, because I didn't think anything of that, because I didn't think that's a negative thing, da 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 da. But and I'm not saying that you should either, but I'm saying with that comes some other things. Because first, now you have to ask, well, what did you go to prison for? Like, why were you there? Why are you what are you doing now that you're out? This, that, and the third. There's a lot of things that goes along with that. Like, the first time that he was ever mean was not to me, it was to his sibling. He hit his sister in the face, and I didn't take heed to that. So that was a warning to me, but I didn't take heed to it because it wasn't happening to me. And so I internalized it as, oh, well, he must really care about me because he's defending me over his sister, in front of his sister or over his sister. And when in all actuality, that was a sign that one day that was going to be me getting hit in the face. You know what I mean? So, so I'm going to go ahead and go on to the second portion, and it's the mirror of reflection. It says mirror reflection resolution. So I want you to see the bigger picture for your life, not through the tunnel vision of where you are. With that being said, let's say you meet someone, and when someone catches your interest, you are attracted because they actually, this is the thing. So it's actually a question. So it's, are you attracted to them because they actually care about you, or are you attracted to their toxic behavior? And that just goes back to, choosing a person based upon their characteristics. If you're choosing them because you lust after those toxic behaviors, or are you choosing them because they show that they care about you and they're taking the time to, I guess, court you and make you feel loved and appreciated. Excuse me. And then the next question that goes along with that is, let's dive deeper. Let's say you personally have some things you've been working on with yourself that are toxic, and you're attracted to the image of yourself. Are you attracted to your own toxicity? Are you attracted to yourself? Because a lot of times what you don't realize is the things that you run towards in another person are exactly who you are. And then those things that you get irritated with, and you're like, I don't like when they do this, I don't like when they do that. And really, it's because you don't like that you do it. You don't like who you are. You don't like, okay, so I'll give you an example. When my husband first moved in, when we were boyfriend and girlfriend, he would, I'm trying to think of something he would do. He did a lot of stuff that I didn't like. But I'm trying to think of something that we do exactly alike that I didn't like that he did. So I'm going to say, Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. He was constantly losing, like, this is something simple, but he was constantly losing the car keys, right? But my dilemma here was, I lose my car keys, but I never lost them and cost myself money. So then he lost them and it cost me like $100 to replace them. And I was so mad, but I never took into consideration that I did the same thing. Like, that's something really small, right? Well, what about the fact that, okay, I'm gonna tell you another thing that gets a little bit deeper. Okay, so my husband, before we were before he went to the military, he worked at a place called Victoria's Secret, right? Okay. And one night, one of my friends came over and I was doing their hair, and he is gonna be so embarrassed that I'm telling you guys this, but I called him. Well, no, he called me and I told him I was doing this person's hair, and he acted like he was all cool about it, right? And then next thing I know, he's calling me, telling me to come get him from work because he's like, he can't breathe in his he can't breathe, and they got him in the medical room because he said that he had drank, I think he had took a caffeine pill and he had drank like some Mountain Dew or something like that. And whole time, I mean, yeah, he probably didn't feel good, but really what it was about the fact that I was doing this person's hair and he wanted to get home because he was low-key jealous. He always wanted to have all my time. That's all. All my time he wanted to be dedicated to him, right? And that is a toxic trait. Like, you cannot think that you're going to be in a relationship and you're going to be like consumed with that person 24/7 all the time. They're never gonna have anybody else around but you, right? But deep down, that was me. And it's crazy because I used to be just like that. And really what got me out of it was being in a relationship with somebody that was just like me and seeing how it looked on the other side. That is what helps me to overcome my toxic behavior of wanting to be like under somebody 24/7 and don't want them, like, low-key jealous. Like, I never really never acted on it or told people like, oh, I even with friends, like when I was younger, like I would kind of get a little bit upset when my friends got a new friend. Like, people joke like that, but they really be living like that. They really feel some type of way when you get a new friend because that just be a part of their personality. So pay attention. When a person acts like they're joking, like, oh, like when you get a new friend, they probably really mad that you got a new friend because they just want to accompany all of your time. And that's not okay, because we got to let people live. We got to let them have their different relationships with different people because they need those relationships to serve different purposes in their life. So that led me into some stuff. That was funny though, y'all. Y'all have to say that was funny. Okay, so, and then the next question was, are you excusing your actions that you should be holding yourself accountable for? So pay attention the next time you get mad at somebody for doing something. Ask yourself, is it because you are seeing your reflection? Are you seeing yourself? Did you pick somebody that was just like you so you could pick on them? Because a lot of times that's what happens. We pick somebody or somebody picks us and we keep them around because they're similar to us, but then they also carry those traits that we don't like about ourselves, and then we pick on them and we beat their self-esteem down, and they think less of themselves because of us, and we really don't even realize that's what we're doing. So take the time to reflect and see if that's something that you may be doing to yourself, to your friend, to to your spouse or significant other, because it's very real. It's very real to sit there and pretty much bash your own negative traits in someone else and then play it off as a joke or whatever it is you might do. What I want you guys to do is remember that you should never settle for the same personality that attracted you towards a toxic relationship, toxic friendship, because it can be changed. And you can change it by changing the things that you are attracted to, the things that you find appealing, and that all begins with self-healing. It all begins with the work that you do within yourself, because you're gonna get to a point where you're gonna see people do things, and it's not even gonna excite you. It's not even gonna make you feel anything. You're gonna be like, that's not cute, man. You know, not judgy, but just like, that's not for me. Let's just put it that way. That's not for me. That's okay. It might be for you, but that's not for me. Let me see here. Also, when you are seeing things that you don't like or that you feel like may be toxic behavior, acknowledge it. My husband had a lot of toxic behaviors, but once they were addressed, they changed. And it didn't happen overnight, but they definitely changed, which goes to show that you can help your relationship, but your significant other must be on board. Your friends must be on board. Your family must be on board. You can only help somebody if they're on board, if they want to, because there were several times, there were several days, there were several months, there were several weeks that I was trying to help somebody or help, and they didn't want the help, really. They asked for it, but their actions showed otherwise. They weren't putting in the work to get anywhere. So just remember that they have to be on board. And if they don't want to change, don't force it, because it just makes things worse, and it's going to make your life harder. Because you're going to place these expectations on these people based upon you putting in all this effort, and it's going to get you nowhere. So with that being said, don't strive to chase yourself. You will find when chasing yourself, you get quickly annoyed with some of the things your significant other does when you're doing that, especially when they're about to make a mistake that you've already made. So like, if you've done things in the past and you made mistakes and you see somebody else making it, it's going to frustrate you, because you're going to feel like you're going to take it personal. You're going to feel like it's you making the mistake, or like if you can overcome it, if you cannot do it anymore, then they should be able to. But it all starts, like we said, with them being on board. They have to be on board. Excuse me. Also, if you're in a relationship, have a talk about your likes and dislikes. You may need to set some boundaries between the both of you so that you're both on the same page. Like, being on the same page is so important. It doesn't mean you guys have to be exactly like one another. You guys have to understand each other. See, that's what love is. Like, to me, it's a connection. You have to understand each other. I should be able to say pineapple, and my husband knows to say pizza, I guess you could say. It's like it's an overall connection. So with all that being said, I want you to understand that vampires are real. They suck your energy, not your blood. And when you're a positive person, negative people are hungry for energy, and they will find you, and they will try to take it. When you're a positive person, you attract negative people sometimes, but negative people are only out for your energy. It's not because you're a negative person. So keep that in mind and keep yourself in check. That's what I want you guys to do this week. Let's go to the I really thank you all for listening. Okay, so that's all I have for you tonight. I just want you guys to remember to turn on your notifications, like Goddess Talk on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're looking to shop the brand Manifest Lux or Manifest Lux Body, head over to www.manifestlux.com. In closing, I just want you to remember to keep God first, operate in your highest self daily, and it is what it is, y'all. Good night.